Hey there guys, welcome back to Texas Beer Reviews, and on this episode we'll be looking at Brash's latest release. This is You've Got Red on You. And this is their Kettle soured saison, brewed with raspberries. And it is also dry hopped. I know Raku, I don't know how to, not really familiar with the hop. At least is one of the hops, if not the only, that they dry hopped it with. But anyway, comes in at 6.5% ABV. And yeah, they just released this yesterday, Saturday, December 10th. It's the 11th. So, first time they've done a sour beer. It's a collaboration with True Brewing out of Colorado. And then True also did a stout with them, brewed up there. Won't see it here. But, you know, Brash does hobby beers and stouts. So this is kind of a step outside their comfort zone. But I did have it on draft yesterday, though I was pretty sleepy after getting off work and was trying to hurry through it. So it'd be nice to crack one open here and get a good tasting of it, I suppose. So let's get into it. Big old bubble. Alright. So, of course, before I mention, this is obviously a Shaun of the Dead reference. Anyway. Pours out a very hazy pinkish orange color. Look a little bit orange there. More orange in the video. It's definitely, looks like just straight raspberry. Raspberry juice. Slightly off white head, but actually poured out pretty nice. Looks really nice though. Definitely looks tasty. So check the aroma. Lots of jammy raspberries. Definitely lots of jammy raspberries. It's not like the most intense, you know, but I mean for what it is, it's pretty jammy raspberry. I mean, this isn't atrial, of course, but didn't expect it to be. It's not really meant to be that kind of a beer. But yeah, raspberry jams is kind of the big thing here. Yesterday I got a pretty big dank, like, you know, earthy kind of dank aroma on it as well. Not really getting it out of the can. I got a big hop aroma on draft, and I'm not getting that out of this can, so. Maybe a hint, but really the raspberries are the big thing. It definitely has a sweet raspberry aroma. Not as much acidity here, so let's check out the taste. Cheers. Okay, hops definitely on the taste. Lots of raspberry. I actually get I get fresh raspberries off this. Now, the thing with this beer is that they dry hop it, so it does have some lingering bitterness and a bit, you know, that kind of grassy, earthy sort of hop character to it. Because of that, you know, there's some other people that had mentioned, you know, a couple of buddies and everything, that they felt that the raspberry flavor was kind of artificial because of that. And I get that because, you know, if you think of like artificial, I kind of think of like certain beers with cherries that have that kind of cough syrup type thing, you know. So I kind of get that. The bitterness is kind of interesting. It's a little different, not something you expect out of this. It's a little weird at first. Um, I might prefer it without the bitterness, to be honest, but I don't really think it makes the beer bad. It just kind of makes it a little interesting. I think maybe some other fruits would have gone well. Like stone fruit would probably been a lot better, or mango, of course. But there is a raspberry sweetness with just a hint of acidity to it. The bitterness is solid. It kind of grows on you a little bit, but it's an interesting beer. It's kind of hard to rate. The mouthfeel feels awesome. Carbonation's a bit prickly, kind of softens up, has some tartness to it. But it's, yeah, the bitterness is kind of, I don't know. I'm not used to it yet. I think it's too much for the beer, to be honest. And it would be a great, solid raspberry tart beer, I think, without that bitterness. I think it's still a solid beer. However, it does make it a little more difficult to drink. I do still want to, kind of send a couple cans out and see what other people think. But, yeah. So, anyway, overall, though, I mean, appearance is great. Mouthfeel is pretty nice besides the bitterness. I initially, on Untappd, had given this a 4 out of 5 stars. But I'm actually not feeling it as much here. So I think I'm going to go, I feel more towards a 3.25 out of 5, maybe even a 3. The bitterness kind of hurts the beer quite a bit, in my opinion. I just don't think tart and bitter go very well together. Depending on the acidity and the amount of bitterness. More acidity and less bitterness is fine, but not less acidity and more bitterness unless you completely remove the acidity from it. But also with raspberries, I just don't feel like it goes too well. If it would have been stone fruit, I think it could have worked out a bit better. Just kind of would remind me of, some of the New England style type IPAs, I guess. But raspberry is a little weird with it. But the beer smells great. It's really not that bad. I don't know. I'm kind of back and forth. It could be a 3.5, but it's somewhere in there. It does have that kind of faux medicinal type thing to it. The raspberries themselves feel fresh. It's the hops and that bitterness that makes it seem artificial. So anyway, I'm probably going to settle in at about a 3.5 because it does have a lot of good qualities to it. It's just the bitterness pulls it down a bit some. So without that, it probably would sit around 4.25, but, it's just a little weird with that big hop character. So anyway, that's pretty much it for You've Got Red on You. A little bit different for them. I don't actually really want to see them go into sour beer, to be honest. I think they nail stouts, and the hops are pretty good for what they are, So, anyway, review's gone on quite long enough. So, as always, and of course, Brash is out of Houston, Texas. So, think global, drink local, and cheers.